What's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you for an ML Sports Take. It's all brought to you by Stanley Law Offices, Rosie's Corner, and Brewerton Ace Hardware. Do we really know who the St. Bonaventure Bonnies are right now? I mean, I don't. I mean, is this a team that went down and won the Charleston Classic, or is it the team that lost to Northern Iowa, right? Is it the team that went toe-to-toe with UConn for a while but lost? Or is it not? Is it the team that, hung in there and beat LaSalle and then on a Friday night showcase blew the doors off VCU? Or is it what happened last night against Dayton? And I got to tell you, folks, this game was so bad. I was watching this game on the stream because I had to work up at Syracuse for the Clemson Orange game. And I, honest to God, I couldn't believe my eyes. And you know what? It started right from the beginning. I don't know what it is with this team, but right in the beginning, when you're on the road, I'm not saying one play in college basketball means that the game is over at all. But right from the get-go, Bonner has a horrible turnover. Just, you cannot turn the ball over against solid teams, against conference teams, and hello, you can't turn it over on the road. And Bonaventure, again, right from the get-go, you could see, oh boy, they're flustered. They turn it over. St. Bonnie was just not in a groove whatsoever. They were down early again, which is a very, it's the same pattern over and over again with this team for the most part. Oshun, who I had been, praising for a long time, was nowhere to be found. He also had a bad rebounding game. He had he had 4 blocks, but he had a bad rebounding game. He had a shaky defensive game, and he had a piss poor offensive game with just 9 points. In fact, St. Bonnie only had one guy in double figures. You're down 12 on the road. You're scoring in the low 20s. You're thinking this thing is not going to be really pretty here in the second half. They just don't have it tonight. That's what I thought. And all of a sudden, Bonaventure cuts it to 8. And you're like, okay, well, hey, 2 stops, maybe a 2 and a 3, or even a couple of baskets. You cut it to a couple possession game. Maybe they can do this. Maybe they can pull this out. But then you know what happened? When they were down 39-31, Dayton is left wide open in the corner. I mean, wide open for a 3-point shot. That was a practice 3 for Dayton, and their young guys played great. I give them a lot of credit, obviously, across the board. The Holmes, the second kid, is very, very good. He had 20 points. All the young guys played well, and certainly Dayton, was able to put forth, a couple of 2-3 guys off the bench who provided a lot of quality minutes. In fact, one guy in Brea scored 20 points, right? So they obviously killed Bonaventure in terms of that. The bench for St. Bonnie, Koulibaly gave you 8. You got 2 from Adams and nothing else. They just don't have a bench right now. And these 5 guys, Lofton, Welch, Holmes, Attaway, and Oshun, they've got to perform in double figures all across the board every single game if you're not going to have a bench. There's no question about it. But that moment right there, I said, that's it. This is done. Because if you can't guard the 3-point shot, you're getting killed on the glass, you're having an awful offensive game on the road, etc., bad mistakes and all the rest. This game is toast. St. Bonaventure's in trouble. I mean, they're 10-4 now. They're 2-1 in conference. Basically, St. Bonnie has to go and win all of their A10 games except one, I think, in order to get back into the conversation for being on the at-large side. Listen, they're so far on the other side of the bubble right now. When you look at quality of wins, record, resume, etc. The Charleston Classic got wiped out by the loss to Northern Iowa, and last night hurt you. It took you OT to beat LaSalle. This team is just not performing. That's all there is to it. I'm not saying that with everybody coming back this year that they were going to be a tournament team, but I think for sure this was going to be a team that was going to be, would make the tournament, maybe even challenge for the A10 regular season or conference title. And you know what? It's just not to be. It's just not. My kid's trying to play monkey games. I'm going to finish up the video with this. The offense was absolutely, positively dreadful last night. Okay, there's no other way to say it. They were 35.2% from the floor, 17.4% from 3, 4 for 23 across the board, and they just had an unbelievably difficult game in terms of rebounding the basketball. 30 rebounds for Bonnie, 32 for Dayton. It was only a 2-rebound difference, but many of the big rebounds that Dayton needed, they closed Bonaventure off, especially on the defensive side, where Bonaventure did not get another opportunity to score. Again, Dayton, they're not an amazing team. They're not awful. They're solid, but they're young. Grant's a great coach. But, man, you lose in this fashion now. Now you're way behind the 8 ball. To me, this team is not an at-large team. This team is not, rising up to at least some of the expectations and hype we had for them. This team needs to go and win the A-10 tournament. It's that simple. Can they get hot at the end of the year? I'm not sure. And then I think after this year, are we going to talk about disappointment, right? Despite last year and despite the careers that these guys have had, are we going to talk about disappointment because the final run back, everybody back, all the starters back, an old veteran team, played together for years? Are we going to talk about St. Bonnie, this group, in terms of Oshun, Attaway, Holmes, Welch, and Lofton? Are we going to talk about this as being a disappointing group despite last year's tournament berth? Didn't win in the NCAAs, but won the A-10 regular season title, won the A-10 conference title. It's very possible that we'll be able to have that discussion. There's no doubt about that. Mike Lindsley with you, ML Sports Take here, Dayton St. Bonaventure recap. Thanks for watching. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports. It's all brought to you by our great friends at the Vince Segura Consulting Group, Welch & Company Jewelers, and the Allen Angus Pub. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.